The idea of building wealth from nothing may seem daunting and impossible, but the truth is that it's much more enjoyable than many people realize. You don't have to be stuck in a dead-end job with no hope for financial progress. By learning a few basic principles and taking small, incremental steps, you can start earning, saving, and investing money towards your financial goals. And don't worry, some of the information may surprise you, but it will all be worth it in the end. You'll be amazed at the progress you can make by simply starting with the basics and gradually building your financial knowledge and habits. Whether you're starting from zero or simply looking to improve your financial situation, these principles can help you take control of your financial future and build the wealth you deserve. So take the first step today and start on the path to financial freedom and abundance. Many people are under the misconception that becoming rich is only possible for those who are born into money. But this couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, according to Ramsey Solutions, 79% of millionaires didn't receive any inheritance at all. This means that most millionaires have built their wealth from scratch and with their own hard work and determination. Furthermore, a high income isn't necessary to become a millionaire either. In fact, 69% of millionaires didn't even earn an average annual household income of $100,000 or more. This just goes to show that ordinary people with average incomes can also achieve financial success with the right mindset and strategies. It's also interesting to note that many millionaires have humble lifestyles, with the average millionaire spending less than $200 per month on restaurants and only $117 per month on clothes. They don't feel the need to overspend on material possessions and instead prioritize long-term financial stability. But what does it take to build wealth? Well, it's not an overnight process, and it takes time and patience. There will be times when you feel like you're not making any progress, and setbacks will occur. However, it's crucial to learn from these setbacks and continue working towards your long-term goals. In order to build wealth, you need to be dedicated to earning, saving, and investing, even when times are tough. This means being willing to make sacrifices and delay gratification in the short term to achieve financial security in the long term. One of the most important things to keep in mind is that building wealth is a simple process, but it's not necessarily easy. It requires discipline, focus, and a willingness to learn and adapt. You also need to have a certain mindset and personality traits that are commonly shared by successful millionaires, such as determination, persistence, and a willingness to take calculated risks. In summary, becoming wealthy is a realistic goal for anyone, regardless of their background or income level. It's a matter of adopting the right mindset, strategies, and habits, and staying dedicated to your long-term goals. While it may not happen overnight, with patience and hard work, financial success is within reach. Building wealth is a common aspiration for many people, but it's important to understand the underlying reasons for wanting to accumulate money. It's not uncommon for people to believe that money is the solution to all their problems. But this is not a magic bullet that can instantly solve all issues. To begin the journey towards building wealth, it's important to set aside realistic expectations and understand the underlying motivations for wanting to accumulate wealth. The first step is to determine why you want to build wealth in the first place. This will ensure that you're pursuing money for reasons that will genuinely improve your life, rather than simply chasing after an idealized notion of success. One of the main benefits of having money is the freedom it provides. This includes the freedom to pursue work that you enjoy, rather than being stuck in a job that you hate simply because it pays well. Additionally, having financial freedom can make it much easier to help others, whether through charitable donations or simply by providing your time and resources to those in need. However, it's important to keep in mind that even wealthy people may not feel like they have enough money. In fact, many people who've accumulated significant wealth still feel like they need to continue accumulating more in order to feel secure. This is why it's important to set realistic goals and understand what you truly need to live a fulfilling life, rather than simply pursuing more money for the sake of it. In order to build wealth, it's also important to have a basic understanding of finance and investing. This includes understanding how much you need to set aside for emergencies, how much your monthly expenses are, and how much income you'll need during retirement. Additionally, you'll need to know how much money you need to put away in order to reach your goals, and what types of investments you should be making to maximize your returns. Fortunately, there is a wealth of information available on these topics, and many of these questions can be answered with a little bit of research. For example, the average annual return of the S&P 500 from 1928 to 2021 was nearly 12%, and experts generally agree that a safe withdrawal rate is around 4% per year. While it's true that earning a low income can make it more difficult to accumulate wealth, it's important to remember that there are many ways to earn a respectable income that don't require specialized skills or years of training. Additionally, choosing a means of earning money doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment. It's possible to change careers or pursue self-employment in order to earn more money and achieve your financial goals. Once you have a basic understanding of finance and investing, it's important to begin investing as soon as possible in order to take advantage of the power of compound interest. Even small, regular contributions to an investment account can add up over time, and paying yourself first and automating your investing is a simple and effective way to begin building wealth. It's important to remember that building wealth takes time and patience. At first, progress may be slow, but over time, your investments will begin to grow and compound. Before you know it, you may find that you're earning significant amounts of money from interest alone. In order to get the most value from each dollar, it's important to learn how to reduce unnecessary spending. This doesn't necessarily mean living a frugal lifestyle, but rather identifying areas where you can cut back without sacrificing your quality of life. For example, you may be able to save money on groceries by shopping at discount stores or buying in bulk. Or you may be able to save on transportation costs by carpooling or using public transportation. When it comes to managing your money, it's important to strike a balance between spending on things that are important to you and saving for the future. While it's perfectly fine to treat yourself every once in a while, you should be cautious about overspending and wasting your hard-earned cash. One way to avoid this is by carefully considering your purchases and calculating how much you'll need to work in order to pay for them. For example, if you're thinking about upgrading to a nicer home that will cost $1,000 more per month than your current place, you should calculate how many hours of work it'll take to cover that expense. If you make $25 per hour, you'll need to work an additional 40 hours every month just to pay for the new home, not including income taxes. This is a significant amount of time, so it's important to carefully weigh the benefits of the new home against the time and effort it'll take to pay for it. When it comes to saving money, it's helpful to focus on the largest expenses in your budget, such as housing and transportation. These are typically the biggest draws on the average household budget, so finding ways to be more efficient in these areas can free up a substantial portion of your income. By cutting costs in those areas, you'll have more money available to save and invest, which is the key to building long-term wealth. To become truly wealthy, it's important to adopt the mindset of the wealthy. This means viewing saving and investing as a necessity rather than an optional or low-priority activity. Wealthy people understand that building and maintaining wealth requires patience, discipline, and a long-term perspective. They prioritize saving and investing even when it means delaying gratification in the short term. On the other hand, people who struggle with money often view saving and investing as something that can be put off or ignored. They may prioritize immediate wants and needs over long-term financial security, which can lead to financial stress and hardships in the future. To avoid overspending and build wealth, it's important to practice delaying gratification and living below your means. This means being mindful of your spending habits and avoiding the temptation to buy things you don't need or can't afford. It also means being patient and consistent in your savings and investment habits, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Finally, it's important to remember that building wealth takes time and effort. It's not something that happens overnight, and it requires a sustained effort over a period of years or even decades. But by taking small steps and making incremental progress, you can build a solid financial foundation and achieve long-term financial security. By following the basic principles of personal finance and investing, and being patient and consistent in your efforts, you can become wealthy even if you start from nothing.